Hello, welcome. My name is Sage Knight Sophia. I am here today. We're going to do the Arboreal Boost Force technique. Um, but I have had some requests on talking about the force from a also a beginner's standpoint. So I think today will be a great day to also touch on the force from a beginner's standpoint and then leading up to that, because this will help a lot. I do have some slides that will help give a visual representation of what I'm talking about. And as of course, if you know me and have ever been to any one of my classes or have met me in person, you know that I do tend to talk a lot. Um, so we're going to get to it. And as we're starting, some people are still coming in. So we'll allow them to come in. We'll settle them in. Hello, Reinar, and welcome. Have begun. So today, like I was just saying, that we're going to be working on the Arboreal Boost force technique. So today will um, require you, hopefully you have access to a tree outside or no, if not, don't worry. I saw that.
I do check my phone battery. I can probably take my laptop outside and find a spot for it. Yeah,
No,
laptop battery's good. Okay, let's see. Grab blue lightsaber. We're good. I'll take my phone with me in case I get any calls from my sister.
don't worry, you don't have to go yet, so you have time to charge your phone. I will let you know and I will give you time because if you can see the other screen, I have a camera outside on a tree
Hey,
in my backyard. So I am simulcasting. Yes, we are getting very
okay, good.
yes.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, I don't want to take my laptop, but I will have to. I'm
Don't
like, I
worry,
can.
I got you
Yes.
covered. So you can charge, go ahead and plug in your phone, and then when you come back to sit, we will begin. We have I'm gonna, I'd like to call him by his Jedi name. I always love to give respect. Let's see, Soul Tack. If I butcher this, please correct me in the chat because I'd rather get your name correct. We have Jedi Soul Taknabi in the in with us. Did I get that correct or even somewhat close? I did. Okay. So I'll call him Jedi Soul today for short. So Jedi Soul is with us. So all right, we will get to it. So again, I'm going to show some slides. So again, too, for Reinhard, some of these slides will be new to you as well, since you are a beginner. You're getting ready to go into the Seeker Path uh, next month. Yes, we are already there. So next month it begins. I know I'm excited. Some of these slides that you'll see today, you're actually going to get an early present because some of these slides come from semester two, because we really don't start learning about in depth about the Force until semester two. But I do know that there are a lot of people who do want to know some basic Force techniques and basic things about the Force. And I'm one to never believe that, you should hold a person from at least start connecting with the Force no matter where they are on their journey. Um, so me being a sage knight, the sages, we tend to have the whole sage path is aimed towards better understanding with yourself as well as a better understanding of the force, because that's this for us, for me, that's the same thing. The Jedi body is the force made physical. So when you truly understand thyself, you truly better get to understand the force, because the body does mimic or mirror the force in so many ways. So we're going to touch on a lot of those topics. One thing it does make me very proud, is that throughout the whole community right now, IJF and me in particular, I think I am the only person left that's around the community that is still actively trying to teach force powers, force techniques, or energy work. I started in the community about six some years ago. I'm bad with time. So about six some years ago, there were a lot more schools of study or in orders in the community when I started, and I went around to the biggest ones that I could find that were teaching the most, which one of them was IJF, and I was knighted in four different orders. Throughout them, there was one called Jedi Praxium. They were very geared towards understanding energy work and force powers. So sadly, they have become defunct. Then and that order has died. So I do like to carry on. I do like to carry on traditions, and I do believe that, teaching force powers is very important. I do believe that's something that should not be stopped throughout the community. And this community, from what I've come to understand, this community has been around for over 30 years. Yes, the whole Jedi community as a whole has been around for over 30 years. I know it has a very rich and deep history.
Actually, I think it might be a little longer. I remember seeing something on the YouTube channels affiliated with us, uh, or something. I read something somewhere that back in 2005, that's when things kind of started to build, I guess, the roots. I remember because it specifically talked about how worldwide someone sent out, some like company sent out a questionnaire asking religion, and like a good percentage of the population here on Earth answered Jedi. So
Yeah, that was actually the UK census. Um,
yes, that
there are,
yes,
and that would have put, again, I'm horrible at math, but if 2025, that would have put, or 2005, that would have put about 20 years ago. So it stretches, yes, does stretch farther than that into
yeah,
the 30 range, because there are Jedi in IJF in particular, and Jedi, some still in the community, who have been with this whole community since the 90s, since the mid to late 90s. And the community started on, I think it said Easy Board. I don't even know what Easy Board is exactly. But I guess that is chats or website builders that were around in the late 90s. Um, that's just amazing. And so yeah, so in that time frame from the mid to late 90s to now, the the subject of force powers and force techniques has waxed and waned
hmm,
around the community. That being so, it's because there's been a lot of people who claim to know things or have things that they didn't, and there's been a lot of people who would bully or be very mean to people who were trying to teach these things. I personally, I have not run into anyone trying to be rude to me ever trying to do that, but I do believe that it is important to definitely speak about the things that we believe in. I think that it is important to talk about our experiences, and just because other people have not had experiences in those areas does not mean that these things don't exist. So some of the things we may talk about today or could come up, you probably have had happen in your life, so you understand, and so you can say, "Dang, okay, that's what that is." Which I've probably said before. I know I've said in my life, I'm not crazy. This is what that is, and this does happen in spiritual communities. So, all right, so I'm going to get to it. And so we're actually going to, perfect. I'm going to jump over to some slides and we're going to talk us through these slides. So I'm going to do a share screen for a moment. Bear with me because I am awful when it comes to technology. Okay. And can everyone see my screen? No, not yet. Now? Now you see it. Okay. So move this out the way so I can read. All right. So as you can see, this right here is from the Jedi Compass, talking about the Force, the ineffable, because we do have different groups within IJF and within the whole community. You have, Jedi. We have Jedi realists and we have Jedi-ists. Jedi realists tend to follow the Jedi path, and their definitions of the Force vary, very all Jedi's definition of the Force very, very very wildly, but Jedi realists usually incorporate their own spiritual personalities, whether that be Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, into their path. And for them, the Force is a philosophical term more than a spiritual term. Jedi-ist, I fall in the Jedi-ist category. That the Force is your higher power. We consider and we understand other religions, we respect them, but to us as Jedi-ists, we see the higher powers of others all as the Force. So when someone says, hey, this is, for me, this is Allah, or this is God, or this is Brahma, then that to me, that's the Force. I'm like, yeah, I understand. I just call it by a different name. So we're all looking at, yes, the same elephant, but we might be looking at this elephant from a different direction. So, going off of the Jedi compass, the what we go by in IJF, in the ineffable, which is the first, because of course the Force should always come first in your path and in your life. Your spirit, having that spiritual connection is very important. So the Force is a loosely adapted term that explains something which is all cultures agree exists, but disagree on exactly what it is. As such, a Jedi dedicates themselves to an understanding of all things within and through the Force. As a rule, no Jedi can set down in law a concrete definition of the Force for all to follow, only for themselves. And that goes back to something we had been talking about at the beginning, that once you truly understand the Force, or understand yourself, you truly begin to understand the Force. But how can you explore something so great when you're not even exploring your own body, which is something that is so great and so vast? It is the most complex thing that has ever been created in the universe and given to you by the Force. So then we'll look at what was said in the mythos by Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope. The Force is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and it penetrates us. So with that, I feel that it's always important, even though people have different definitions of what the Force is, if we can all meet at one base, then we can all build from there and come to an understanding of the Force. So, like Obi-Wan said, that energy field, or that energy is, let's start at a very low base, atoms, because what is in all things? Atoms. Atoms are a highly condensed form of energy. Liquids, gases, and solids are all composed of atoms. And because everything is constantly in motion and vibrating, it generates both kinetic and potential energy. So everything vibrates. Everything is always in motion. And what I mean by that is now you're looking at either a laptop or your phone or any solid thing around you, even yourself. It is always in motion. It may look like it is sitting still, like Reinar has that cup. So Reinar, if you hold that cup up, for example, yes, that cup, it looks like it is not moving. But yes, its atoms are constantly moving all the time. Everything around us is always in motion. There's energy created. So that's when we have to look at things and say, the force, or whatever your higher power may be, as they say and I will bring a quote right there from the Bible, they say God is in all things. So again, for me, the force is in all things because it's an energy. So it is in all things. It makes up everything, even
Hmm.
ourselves.
Yeah. It may not look like it's moving, but that's because it's moving on such a level we may not see it.
Exactly. As things often do. And so
Hmm.
when I say that atoms make up everything again. Atoms are in constant motion at all times. And during high temperatures, they oscillate, rotate, and vibrate faster with higher frequency. At lower temperatures, atoms slow down but continue to oscillate, rotate, and vibrate, but at a much lower frequency. So now the words oscillating and vibrating are going to come up a lot when speaking of the force and also frequency, because that is important. Oh, and I do it again. So now this part is extremely important, especially how do I get this thing out the way? How do I get these out the way? Perfect, there it is. So now we're going to look at the heart and how important the heart is. And if you see me ever in the chat or anywhere, you'll see that I'm always putting gold hearts everywhere. And there's a reason for that. And I'm messing up again. And there's a reason.
Sophia,
Yes.
I got a dip. I just got a text from my sister that she's here, and I'm like thinking, and I'm like, okay, I didn't expect her this early, so
That's all right. You do what you
yep,
gotta do. All right. We will see you later.
yep. Quick question. Later
Yeah,
on, when I get back,
sure.
will you be free to chat?
Yes, sir, I should be.
Okay, perfect. Because I know we've been talking about doing it,
Right.
and we keep missing each other. So when you see me in VC later, feel free to drop in.
All right, will do. I'll catch up
All
with you.
right. Talk to you later, Safia. Bye.
You too. The force is with you.
May
Always.
force with you always.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the heart and how important the heart is when it comes to the force and force powers. But first, I think it's important to understand the importance of the heart and how important it is in your everyday, in your entire life. So the heart has a electromagnetic power. The heart is the body's most powerful rhythmic and electromagnetic oscillator and producing an electric field up to 60 to 100 times stronger and a magnetic field 5,000 times stronger than the brain. Over a lifetime, the heart generates 2.5 gigajoules of energy, enough to drive a truck to the moon and back. The heart is the first functional organ to form and beat in a developing human embryo. Well before the brain and nervous system are fully formed, we have a heart first. It acts as the primary independent organ with its own intrinsic nervous system of 40,000 neurons, allowing it to function and communicate independently with the body, the heart and mind with the heart in mind, the research shows that the heart sends more signals to the brain than it receives from the brain, which is very interesting. Most people think it's the other way around. So, but coming from the uh, clinical side and health field, I do really see a lot where that if the heart is having issues, there is a lot of problems going on throughout the whole body. Cardiovascular issues tends to be one of if one number one, if not one of the highest reasons of death in America, for example. But we're going to move on. So now, that energy field can actually be measured. I've got to see these in person. Being being in my field of work, I've got to see these in person. So we have called SQUIDs. They're superconducting quantum interference devices, and it is an extremely sensitive magnometer used to measure magnetic fields. And they're operating based on superconducting loops. They are vital in medical imaging, or MEGs, and geophysical surveys. The optically pumped magnometers, the OPMs, they are a little more advanced. They're room temperature sensors used for cardiography, which is MCG, to measure the heart's magnetic fields. So we do have devices in science and in the medical field to see how much energy the heart is producing. And this again is very important. And with this, we can see how wide of a range that the heart is able to produce. And if you see throughout the universe, again, as you see the Earth's magnetic field, the magnetic field of a galaxy as well as the heart, they mirror each other. They look almost identical. And that's again why I say that once you start to understand the body, you start to understand the whole universe around us because it mirrors itself over and over and over again. So now today, of course, we're going to talk about, or we're going to work on the arboreal boost. So we're going to talk about at least that electromagnetic field of trees because animals and humans give off this electromagnetic field because we have a pumping heart. But then I always hear people say, Sophia, what about the trees? Of course they do. They too have a electromagnetic field of their own. So, research using sensors has indicated that trees have electrical bioelectromagnetic fields as well, and they communicate or react to the environmental factors as well as human emotions. So now that right there I feel is important because if you've ever worked with plants, then you know that talking to plants, being around plants not only affects us, but then affects them too. And what we bring to these plants they can get off of us. Same thing with animals. What we bring to animals, they can feed off of us. And what they bring to us, we can feed off as well. Those energies that we feel from animals, plants, and each other, we are affected by them. Now, back to the trees, these energy fields are generated by the tree's biological functions, which are the roots, the trunk, and the canopy. The roots, they transport water and nutrients using throughout the tree extending far beyond the canopy's drip line. And then there is the trunk and the stem that has vascular tissue that moves water and minerals and sugars and transport energy all around the tree. With the canopy and the leaves, they perform photosynthesis using chlorophyll to produce carbohydrates and oxygen. So hopefully you're learning about the trees there. If you didn't already know. Whoops. And then now, looking at the magnetic field of the heart. Our thoughts affects the heart's magnetic field. Our thoughts and our emotions affect the heart's magnetic fields, which energetically affect those in our environment. Whether or not we are conscious of it or not, that is a different story. I'm going to leave this image up here just for a moment while I speak. Now, if you have ever been in a room and you and the people in the room are just talking and everything is fine. It's a calm energy in that room. Then someone else has walked into that room, and as soon as they walk in, you can feel a completely different vibe. The vibe of that room has now changed, whether it be anger or just they can be extremely joyous, they can be just energetic, and now their energy has affected that entire room. And usually, when people connect with the most and understand the most things they remember the most is when someone has walked in just angry and they may not have even said a word and may not even see it on their body language, but their heart is giving the message to yours and you already can tell like, man, something is wrong. And now the whole room has been affected. The whole room has been changed by this one person's emotion, this strong emotion that this person is letting out. Or if you've ever been having a decent day or even a bad day, and you walked up to a person and they may have been on an even keel and been had a neutral day going so far, and just by you being around them, that energy you brought to them has affected their day for the entire day. They said either like, man, just being around you has really brought down my mood, or you're a real downer, or they have said, man, thank you. Man, you have really made me feel better just being around you. That right there is from you using the force. You're projecting that energy from your heart onto another. So we, as humans, we can have healing energy or we can have harming energy. That is something that is sadly not widely understood by a lot of people. I know that's a wide net to put on a lot of people. But a lot of people are not conscious of the energy that they walk around with and are not conscious of the effects that they have on the people around them because they're always so stuck in their own bubble, in their own mind, that they are not even paying attention to the people or the even animals that they hurt just by walking around. Even with that, if you walk into your house, you have pets, you walk in your house and you could be having the worst day ever. And your dog or your cat, they just run up to you and they're just loving on you and looking in your face and they're like feeling it. And you're just like, gosh, how do you know this? They know. They know because they are more in tune, because they are in the moment. They can feel that energy emanating from the heart. Just as if we are paying attention, we can feel that energy, that vibe, that frequency, the force emanating off of another person's. So another person's force aura can truly affect ours. So, but then knowing how to block them out or absorb, that too is our other force techniques that we begin to learn down the road. Okay, so I think I will go into the chat to see if there's any questions. How do I stop share? There we go. Stop share. So, Jedi Soul, before I continue, did you have any questions or any comments on that? No question yet. Okay. Have you had any situations or any type of experiences, like I mentioned, where your energies or energies of others have affected your day or you've been affected by or ever felt it? You felt someone's vibe, their aura, or you seen it where you're just like, yeah, something's off about this person, but you just can't name it. But then you're just like, man, I know it and I feel it and I feel it and then it finally comes out. All right, and I know in the recording I'll be reading his responses. He says that I get those feelings from time to time. Mostly they are good vibes, but you know, when the hair goes up in the back of your neck, I obey those feelings. Absolutely. That is what you would call right there. So you have been touching the force. That is your intuition, your force sense. That hair going up on the back of your neck telling you, or some people like to say spidey senses, that something isn't right. That or you just know that something is up. I just know this is good. You don't have to know, and sometimes you know that something is bad or off or wrong without even knowing that you know. You just know. That is force sense. But again, if you are not paying attention and not present, if you are in the future or in the past and not focused on the present moment, you miss those feelings. And yes, I believe that you should obey those feelings because usually I mean, from my experience, the intuition isn't wrong. There are times when my intuition tells me something and then I go with it. And at first it does feel like, man, why did I do this again? Because logically I shouldn't have done this. But my intuition said, and it always tends to work out when I've listened to my intuition. So yes, you have been using the force unconsciously without even knowing it. And you've been succeeding at it, especially if you obey those feelings and they come out correct. How do you feel about that? Exactly. That is exact good example. He says that, look at me, I'm flying. Yes. Um, And there's, gosh, and it's just amazing to know that like we have that much power over our environment and we don't realize it. And um, just as well, I believe that it's important too to know or to understand that our emotions, our emotions and how that energy and our emotions are energy because we said everything is the force, everything is energy. So with our emotions are energy. So that's how you get emotions. You get energy in motion, emotion. You put that together, that takes energy. And understanding again our emotions is extremely important, and that's one of the things that we teach on the Seeker Path and in IJF, because understanding your emotions and not blocking them out, but truly learning them is then and analyzing them keeps them from getting trapped. Because a lot of people I have in my work, I do a lot of body work for people, and I find that they tend to have a lot of tension in their shoulders and neck pain because a lot of emotions that they have not been releasing or understanding, they've kept pent up. And where does it stay pent up at? The body. It holds in the body, and they don't understand why these things are happening to their body, like clenching their jaw, or their hands begin to hurt because of clenching their fists, or migraines, or neck pain, shoulder pain, tense shoulders, not being loose because of, again, you holding on to negative emotions and them getting trapped in your body with no way to release them. So energy. They can either be trapped or they can move and they can flow. Okay. Again, sometimes you have to stop me. I talk a lot. All right. Should we proceed? Let's. Okay. So it is at present 11, so that means I'm not sure the time frame for you. So, but I know that here in South Carolina, it starts to get pretty hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead now and we're going to go and touch our tree. We're going to go and see if we can feel the energy of the tree. Because the Arboreal Boost exercise, it tends to work for me a lot better when I am beat up or I am tired. That's when I feel it the most, where the tree has the most to give. When I do it when I'm fresh, I can feel the tree and I can feel the flow of the tree, but it's like I know that I don't need to borrow something that I don't need. And so it's like a friend. If you have plenty of sugar, I don't need to take any sugar from you if I have plenty of my own for to make some Kool-Aid. But if I don't have some and they have it to give, then it gives. And so we make sure then too the same. If we have energy or sugar Kool-Aid for a friend or for someone else, we have some to give as well. Okay, so I'm going to meet you outside. As I said, as you can see, the other camera is on the tree. I'm going to see how this works. I'm going to mute this one, run downstairs, unmute that one, and then I'll be talking through my headphones and we will go through there. All right, so I will give you some time to get to the tree, your tree. And then you let me know when you're at your tree, because once I go out there, I won't be able to touch my phone. I'll go through the whole meditation and then I will run back in. So I'll wait for you to make sure you are set and able. Look at you, you are on it. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I will see you there. Give me just a moment. right. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. I'll tell you, this is so cool. Okay. And then second question would be, is is the camera with the looking at the tree the main focus? Awesome. Okay. I love when technology works like it's supposed to. That is makes me happy. And of course, we have the dogs next door. I'll make sure I get both headphones. All right. So I'm in my backyard. Again, it is about 12. So I'm going to make sure that I do my best to talk loudly and clearly and slowly. Because then, of course, I don't have any control over any of the noise around me. So hopefully my neighbor's dog would be good. I put up my dog so he won't jump in on this, but he definitely would. But for me, this I love this tree. Um, this was actually one of the main reasons 5 years ago that we bought this house. When I walked outside into the backyard, I felt this tree. Just like we spoke about, I felt the energy off this tree, and I knew that, and this was the house. Everything else I liked inside, but then once I got out here, I was like, yeah, I want this house. I said it just like that. I knew this tree let me know. So, all right. So what you're going to do is we're going to start by taking a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose and out through the mouth. I want you to start wiggling your fingers and toes. Usually people tend to laugh when I say that, but that helps get the blood flow and energy flowing in your body because the fingers and toes are the farthest points away from the heart and back. So the heart has to pump blood all the way out to the extremities and back again. And we're going to wiggle these fingers and toes for 3 good breaths. Again, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Good. And relax. Okay. Now we are in front of our tree. We're going to take our hand, whether it be your right or your left. You're going to place it on what you feel would be the heart of the tree. Once you've got your hand on the heart of the tree, I want you to continue that breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. Continue your breaths. Now guide this meditation. I want you to envision that connection from your hand to the heart of the tree. Envision the root of the tree. Envision to the very top of the tree, all the way to the ends of each leaf, like we did with ourself, from our heart all the way to our toes and to our fingers. From our hand, from our heart to our hand, we're going to travel down the tree, continuing to breathe in through the nose out through the mouth, down underground to the roots underneath your feet, and slowly come back up the tree, all the way to the top, traveling up the branches to the leaves, and back down to the heart of the tree, to your hands, and into you. And make sure we keep that breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll repeat that process, the heart to the hand, to the tree, and go. I want you to take your time, do at least three times, traveling from your heart to the hand, to the tree, and back to the hands, to the heart. When you get to your heart, we'll go from our heart down through our body, to our feet, to our toes, back up to our shoulders, to the crown of our head, and back down the heart, to the hand, to the tree. Feeling the blending of the energy of the tree, the blending of the energy of you, continuing to breathe. Once you have got what you needed, it's always important to be thankful, thankful to the force, and give a thank you to the tree and for all that it gives, for all that's given, for all that it will give. And when you are ready and when you are done, you will take that last breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, bring it back to the heart, say thank you, and release. Okay. How do we feel? I personally, I feel very refreshed from that. I know that I have a some very hard training to do today. Um, and my body was actually felt pretty beat up going into that. I really thought I was like ready for the training that I had today until I got up and I was like, man, legs are a little sore. And just now, I actually got what I truly needed. I feel calm. I feel refreshed. Do you feel ready? So it's funny, after this class is over, I'm gonna about to have like another one of the toughest sessions I've ever had. So, and Jedi Soul says, so I wasn't feeling much until the wind changed direction, and I was able to smell the leaves, and that triggered a reaction. I felt my pulse slow down, and it felt good. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's interesting how every time I do this exercise that I don't feel the wind when I start it. And then it's like as soon as there's this when I can hear it and feel it, and it's just like a wave and it's there and it's yes, like I don't even know how to describe it. It is, and it's so weird because it just felt like the air was still, and then this wave always like crashes, but not like a bad wave, but just like a whew. And I'm like, oh, there it is. I feel me. I feel the tree. I feel everything. Wham. I'm there. That to me is how it always feels when like I truly connect to the force, when I am present, when I am not expecting anything, just my expectation is gone, the need is gone, the want is gone, the desire is gone, that thinking elsewhere is gone. I am in that moment, just boom, and it comes on so fast. It's like, whew, and you're like, oh, there it is. And it's almost like you don't want to even let it go because you're like, I like this. I like this a lot. Yes. Then you did it. For the recording, he said, I gave in to the moment and it was very different. Then you've done it. You have connected with the force today. I thank you. I think I'm okay. I think I have a lot of learning to do as a teacher and a lot of growing to do as a teacher, but I appreciate the compliment. Um, as a knight, it is. our job to be teaching. It is our job to guide others, and it is our job to help where we can. And I always have felt the calling to help and guide others when it comes to the spiritual part of their path, especially when it comes to the Force. That's where, like I said, for me, that is where I've gained so much. My heart feels very full right now. Like it's like like eating soul food. My heart feels very full right now. Um, yes, that's just always where I know that I feel the closest to the Force is helping others gain that connection and open that door for them. Um, and it's amazing how many people close that door or don't even realize that that door is closed and they never know this feeling and they're just missing so much connection in the world around them, so much connection with themselves, and so much connection with the universe. And yeah, that just, but it does make me hopeful, you know, um, that you say I'm a good teacher, so then that means hopefully I'll keep teaching. And like I said, I'm glad that you came today. I'm glad that you got something out of this. I hope that you gained a lot. And if you know someone else who is struggling with connecting to the force, or you know someone else who has doubts about even touching the force or force powers or anything like that, you can show this to them, and you can show them that it's there, but they have to meet it. Because how can you gain something if you don't at least meet it halfway? You know? That's funny. I'm looking at the camera. I think a squirrel just ran onto the where the camera's at. It wouldn't surprise me, but yes. Well, like I said, hopefully you gained a lot today. And yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you in the chat. No, don't worry. I have I was about to say trust me, no, I get it. I have like fat fingers all the time, like when I really want to say something and it just nope, I mess up the whole thing like badly. It's not raining where you are, is it? Yes, exactly. Jedi Soul says, you have to meet it. Yes, exactly. You have to meet it or don't bother trying. And a lot of people don't want to meet it. That requires effort that a lot of people don't want to put in. Um, but then too, if you don't have belief in your heart, but yes, and that's true. And if you don't have that belief in your heart that something is possible, then you're not even going to get up to go meet it halfway. I I hate to say it like this, you don't deserve to get whatever it may be it goals, a destination, if you don't have it in the heart and you don't have it in you to even get up and meet halfway the things that you're wanting or the things that you're praying for, you don't need it because you're not even putting in that effort to do it. And it just takes a bit of effort. A small bit of faith and a little bit of effort can take you a long way in life. So, yes. All right, I will shut up because again, I do talk a lot and I hope that you got a lot from this. I'll follow up and message you in the Discord and thank you. Thank you for making it today. And the force is with you always.